everyone. Thank you for coming today. Sorry about the little technical difficulty we ran into there at the beginning. However, now I am on the call. So I guess you guys can hear some kids in the background here. I am currently on my way to Detroit, actually, so I will see you guys. Maybe I can see you guys up while I'm up there. But today I wanted to take everyone through the EPIC system, which is our newest paging, intercom, and bells system that works with your classroom audio as well. So EPIC stands for Education Paging and Intercom Communication System. And it is a system that's been designed completely for K-12. So you're not working with other paging intercom bell systems that have been developed for hospitals or warehouses or anything like that. So one of the main things that we wanted as a goal for this system was to give you situational awareness in your building. And through that, it allows you to observe what's going on in a building at any given time. You can also, in that case, orient yourself with what's going on, decide what to happen, and act on those scenarios. And your boot. As far as your whole building, we'll be using your existing school network, and on there you'll have one main server per building, your console in the main office, and then in every classroom you'd have your classroom sound reinforcement system that is a network amplifier, or our MS450. Again, it's a ground-up development specifically for your K-12 schools. So we have our scheduling component is going from August all the way through July. Your communication will include things such as fire alarms, storm drills, shelter in place. And then as far as the safety component, we'll get to that when we come across it. But we can see each classroom, and if you decide to go with a camera option, we would have cameras in each of the classrooms. Now, again, we tried to stick to making sure that this is very easy to use for your K-12. So we've got your scheduling, multiple schedules, giving you the ability to play bells only when you're in that classroom. Again, situational awareness. This comes down to your students. They will not be receiving messages that do not apply to them. Safety and security, situational awareness, your students will get a zone-specific communication with them. And with your communications, it's integrated through your VoIP phone systems, so you can still use your telephone to pick up and page any given classroom and or zone. But at the same time, you also have the clear, easy-to-use touchscreen interface. So easy access, this is where your browser-based control and configuration is living. It gives you that ability as a principal and or superintendent to log into any building and look and see exactly what's going on in that building at any given time, or push messages out to that building when necessary. The user interface that we've tried to design here is now something where we can make different user interfaces for who needs to use that interface, right? So as far as making it easy access, anything you want to get to is going to be within a few clicks. It's easy for you to contact any human in the building that you need. It's a very clear and clean view of your building, and you can also get to any of these things very quickly. Looking at the home page, you'll see you've got your home building layout. Then on the left, you can use the home to go either to zones or specific rooms just by clicking on that room. If you need to do intercoms, click on that room. Paging, this is where your notification tab would be for your fire, all those types of notifications, emergency alerts, and then bells down below. Using those SIP connections, we can give you specific zoned out areas of your building. So in hallway common areas, we would use a network device that connects to a larger scale or a larger run of speakers. And then in each classroom, we can use your telephones, and we use the classroom devices to give them a endpoint in each one of your classrooms. Making an intercom call, this is what you'd be looking at. So you can either click on that room from the list or click on it from the map. And through your Active Directory, it will show you who's in that classroom, what room number, the description of the class, who the teacher is, when their next bell is, devices that are in that classroom, and all the zones that they are on. Paging a zone, very similar. Again, we have unlimited zoning because we have unlimited device. Well, we have a device in every classroom. So you decide what you want your zone to be. It tells you the extension, what the zone name is, and then you can page it. Bell scheduling, and there's the tab down here. Once we get into bell scheduling, you can make your bells. And again, because we have every single classroom has its own device, we have unlimited schedules for unlimited zones. So if you would like to put in a science cleanup bell that only rings in the science rooms, that is now an option. Right? So as far as customizing bells, a lot of times what I've seen is that elementary schools will not use bells at all because they have so many different things going on at any given time, and they don't want their kids getting mixed messages. Now you have the flexibility to design when and where bells are going off down to a room level. This gives you a reason to use bells and now enable your elementary school students to get messages when they need them. We can use any type of MP3 or WAV file. You just load it in here. So if your cleanup bell, you want it to play Barney's cleanup song, we can also make that happen. Using the calendar itself is very intuitive. If you click on the date, you can change the date singly. If you click on one of the days of the week, it will highlight all of those days for what you have set as your school calendar, and you can highlight and change every day as needed. When managing the map, if you need to add new rooms or change zones, just in the settings here, you click on Zone Map. And if you need to add a zone, click Add Zone, name it, and select devices that are going to be on that zone, or select rooms that are going to be on that zone. As soon as you click OK, it will populate in your zone. If you add rooms, things like portable classrooms, you can always put the portable classroom on there, draw that room in, add the device to it, and then drop it into your zones and rooms. So as far as controlling who can do these different things, the role management is one of the really cool features that I touched on a second ago. But because it's with your Active Directory server, we can decide exactly what every authorized user can do. In the system, we pull up the permissions and decide what administrators have, what the standard user has, teachers, what a guest user. If we need to add more to this list, because you have different users that you want to give different permissions to, that's definitely something we can do. And then when we go over to the users list, we just give that user a different you give that user a different assigned user interface based on if they're an administrator or guest. So to show you some of these things live, I have the system pulled up right here in front of me, right? As we talked about looking at intercom functionality, I click on the room, see it loads all of the pieces in here, their zones, intercom, and we're talking with that room. When I hide the rooms and go over here to zones, same thing. Clicking on testing zone, or when you have state standardized tests or first grade, all of the classrooms in general, any of those separate items that you would want to do. Because we have so many specific zones, that also enables us to, once we have these systems set in with our Epic system, we can communicate with your fire or with your fire alarms. We can communicate with your storm drills. We can communicate with your lockdown. Your HTTP commands and serial commands and contact closures. We can make it so that if a fire alarm goes off in the building, specific places get specific pre-recorded messages telling them where to go. We can do the same thing for storm drills, the same thing for shelter in place or lockdown. Now, the other thing that when we're talking about security in your building, that also talks about our safe system. All right, so on all of our microphones, in the past, we've had districts ask us, can you put a silent alarm on your microphone? That's where this came from, right? So through that silent alarm on your microphone, we're going to, teacher holds both these outside buttons for 3 seconds, sets an alarm off, which makes all of the lights on the receiver turn red. Over the network, it then sends out alerts, text and email to everyone on your predetermined response team. And then on that main monitor or wherever they log in, they can see exactly what is happening. So as a teacher, this is what you would see in your classroom. I send an alert, all 3 lights turn red. In the main office or SRO or wherever, they can log in. They would see where the alert is up in this corner. If you have the classroom camera, they'd have a live feed into the camera, and they also have a heat map of where the problem is in the building. Once they click the acknowledge button to say, yes, someone has seen this, and we are now going to try and figure out, what we're going to do. We're orienting ourselves with where the situation is and coming up with action. You can alert the teacher that it has been acknowledged and that a plan is being made and somebody is coming to help. By once you click that acknowledge, the 2 outside lights would turn green, showing them that it's happening. A little close up on what the email alerts or text message alerts would look like. So your alert, again, gives you that link so you can access the browser and pull up this information. Same thing if you're on your cell phone, gives you a link to pull it up. And then, as you can see here, some of the other actions that we can include. Close up on what you'd be looking at. This is what happens when a teacher sets off a alert when they're connected with their own classroom. So a paired alert, if you will. Now, if a teacher is not in their own classroom and they're walking down the hallway and see something and they set the alert off, this is what a non-paired alert would look like. It gives you a heat map of where in the building you have a problem. The smallest circle is the room you are closest to. So this teacher is most likely outside of room 115 in between 117 and 18 there. All right, so again, non-paired alert. The microphone's going to find up to 5 receivers, gathers the location, and then tells you where you are in the building, or tells the response team where you are in the building. It will do that every 30 seconds. So if you have an issue in a building, it's going to continuously update you where that issue is taking place every 30 seconds. At the end of any given event, you must actually log in, well, on the login page, when you click end event, a comment will pop up, which I'll show you in a moment here, and you will have to decide what to do with your alert. So to watch kind of a live demonstration of the process, the teacher sets off their alert. Because there's no classroom camera, you're only going to see where the alert is in the building. When I click acknowledge, the first step would be turning those outside buttons to green, or those outside lights to green. Now I have the option of locking the building down. And then at the very end of the event, I click end. And obviously this is only on the demo server, so. Now the cool thing about this system is that it logs all of these events happening. So in the case of an emergency, we now have timestamps of who set this off and when they set it off, who acknowledged it, when they acknowledged it, what action steps were taken after that and when they were taken. So after the fact, if it's the case of a drill, you can evaluate how fast are we responding in this scenario. And if it's not a drill, you can look back and say, how fast did we respond and what can we do better in the future? With those automated safe notifications, again, all of those would be pre-recorded notifications, personalized depending on your campus. So we can make this do exactly what you need to do. With that event engine, we can take it all the way down to who's getting text messages, what the text message says, what the link is, where it's sending you. Every different area in your building can be something different. So I know this was a kind of a overhead view of all of the system at once, but if you would ever like to set up a personal demonstration or take a look at your building, please feel free to give me a call. There's my cell phone number there, as well as my email address. You can email me, and we can set up an in-person demonstration. If you are attending ISTE, we are in booth 1986, and we will have a fully functioning system there with us. So just wanted to thank everybody for coming out today, and feel free to shoot me an email and or call with any questions.